guys! Today I'm filming my April TBR. And I'm really excited. I didn't film this. I filmed this earlier, but I only had like 3 physical books to show you. And then my mom went to the library the other day and like 4 books came in for me. So I'm just gonna refilm this and show you all of the books that I hope to read in April. And the first of those is a graphic novel. Or it's a comic book. Okay, I don't know. I'm going to call it a graphic novel for the sake of this video. But this is the Ultimate War series from Marvel. This is Ultimate War 1 through 4. And I picked this up a really long time ago when I went to Newbury Comics at the mall there in New England. Yeah, and then I just never read it. And I do that all the time with books. I'm really terrible about it because I get new books and I get really excited about those new books and then I don't read the ones that I already have. So I feel like if I put it in this video, I will probably read it because, you know, I've told the internet that I'm going to. So the other one I think I talked about in one of my tags. I picked this out for a tag video that I did, and then I was like, I really want to reread that. Benedict, your hand is broken. Anyway, this is My Favorite Band Does Not Exist, and yeah, it's a really confusing book. I'll probably do a video on it because it is a really interesting book. I read this one maybe 2 years ago, so I don't really remember what it's about, but I started it. I'm a couple of chapters in, so yeah. And then I got this. This is the Magisterium series. This is the Iron Trial. And I'm going through Cassandra Clare Withdrawal because I went to look in to see when her next book series was coming out. And it's not coming out till next year. So I was like, I really need some more Cassie Clare. This is not set in the world of the Shadowhunters. This is an entirely different series, and this is actually co-written with another fantastic author, and that is Holly Black. And I read one of her books earlier this year, and I really liked it, so I have really high expectations for this, even though it's a kid's book, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. I'm excited for this. I don't really know what it's about, and this one's a series too. I don't know of how many books. I don't know if it's a trilogy or like 5 books or whatever, but this is not a standalone book. And I think the next one of this series comes out sometime this year, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then I have the complete works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. And this is for school, for my British Lit class. I don't know how many of these I have to read, because this is a lot. And I've been reading the other books I've been assigned in like a week or 2, just depending on the length. And I feel like if I were to read this one and seriously give it thought the way that you should a school book, I would need like an entire month. It's such a heavy book. It's a really, really heavy book, but I'm excited. I've read a few Sherlock stories here and there. My favorite is the Speckled Band one. I think it's just called the Speckled Band. That one's my favorite. But I think I read most of volume 1, or the one that my library put into 2 volumes. And then obviously, you know, I've seen the show, and the movies, and the documentary, all on Netflix, I think. Oh, except for the movies, the ones with, I almost said Tony Stark. No, the ones with, with Tony Stark, yeah. You know what I mean. Robert Downey Jr. There it is. AKA Tony Stark. But the rest of them, the BBC series, and the How Sherlock Changed the World, that documentary was really interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to read this, even if it is really, really long. And the print is fairly small. So, but I'm excited, nonetheless. And then, I think I talked about this, but I did not get to this book in March. I'm having a hard time remembering what month it is. I didn't get to this book in March. This is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Gillian Flynn? I still don't know. Soft-G, hard-G. Let me know. Let me know what it is, because I don't know how to pronounce her name. Yeah, I didn't get to this. I started like a couple of pages and then I'm like, why didn't I read this? This seems really, really good. I don't know. This is so hyped and there's a movie about it. I don't know why this wasn't first on my list. It just wasn't. So I'm hoping to read that this month, but it's due in 7 days at the library. So I gotta be fast about that one. Finally, I got this one. This is The Red Queen, or just Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I immediately went online to the library website as soon as I heard Peru's Project talking about this book coming out in her most anticipated winter of 2015 books, I think is what it was. And this just sounded so interesting to me. And so I went on to order it and it wasn't even in the system. And so I went like a couple of weeks later and it had so many holds on it. There were so many holds. So I've been waiting like a month for this book. And it finally came in, and even though Gone Girl is due in 7 days, in a week, I'm probably gonna read this one first. Because I'm really excited and I've been waiting for it. And everybody was talking about it in their March wrap up of the books they've read, and they're like, Red Queen, and I'm like, no, I don't want to know anything. I don't even want to read the inside flap. I know a little bit because Peru's Project told me just a little bit about it, and I was like, yep, that's fine, I'm hooked, but I don't want to know what people thought about it because I don't want their opinions to sway me. I don't want to know any more about what this book was about. So I'm excited to read this one. I'm gonna stop rambling about it and just keep going. Oh, I've only got one more. And that is Helen of Troy by Margaret George. And I don't know why I was thinking about this book the other day, but I was thinking about Margaret George, and I'm like, oh, I really wanted to read her books. Again, I read this one and I read Cleopatra by her, or like the Diary of Cleopatra. I don't know, I think it was just called Cleopatra. And just the way that she tells stories is really interesting. This is basically about Helen of Troy from her perspective, and it's a really interesting take that I had never read before. Like, Helen is never allowed to look at mirrors. She's never allowed to know how beautiful she is, and yeah, and then one day she's used as a weapon. And it's really interesting. So it's a bit longer. I think it's about 600 pages, but this is from a different library. I go to 2 different libraries, plus the interlibrary thing. I don't know. Does everybody have that? Where you can like go on to one library's website and then order books from every library in that state? Because that's what I have from my hometown. And then there's another one from the town where I go to school that doesn't do that. So anyway, this is from the library from the town where I go to school. And they might not have the interlibrary loan system, but they also don't have library fees. So there's just a little like guilt box. I think it's actually called the guilt box. And I always do end up putting a little something in there, but you don't get fined for this, so I can keep this out pretty much as long as I want. I just have to deal with the guilty looks and the stares I get when I go into the library, but you know, it's worth it. And again, I started this one, but it's gonna take me a while because it is so much longer, and I have like school books and stuff to read. So yeah, that wraps up my April TBR. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!